G'day, Professor Joseph Drew. I've had requests for more of these videos where I try to bust some myths and expose some assumptions that we all hold with robust empirical work published in scholarly papers. And indeed, my future research, I'm making a point of concentrating on busting myths. I've got some papers coming out shortly on the effect of income homogeneity and efficiency, papers coming out on efficiency following amalgamation, papers coming out on long-term financial plans and their accuracy. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff happening. Look, I hope you enjoy this video and please let me know how many you got right. So, number one, efficiency is only weakly associated with financial sustainability. This is based on the New South Wales financial sustainability ratios using multiple regression against efficiency scores constructed through data and development analysis, both robust statistical techniques that I've covered in other videos. And as you can see, efficiency actually reduces own source revenue and reduces performance on the debt ratios, but it does improve performance on the current ratio and performance on the capital expenditure ratio. So only very weakly associated, not all positive, some of it's negative. Now, that might be a bit hard to understand, but I always encourage people to think of the personal budget metaphor. Think about your personal budget. You know, if you went on an efficiency drive, what could you shave off your expenditure? Maybe 1%, 2%, maybe even 5%, but you'd really be cutting it to the bone because a lot of things are fixed, like your electricity and your grocery shopping and school fees and things like that. There's not that much discretionary stuff to cut in the first place. Now, how much of an effect will that have in comparison to big decisions you made years ago, like the cost of the house you decided to build and any improvements that you've done to the house, or getting married and how many children you had? They have much bigger ongoing effects than the few percentage you might be able to shave off your shopping list this week. And it's the same with local government. The things that really determine financial sustainability: the amount of debt, particularly the amount of assets you built over time, the number of services, particularly the discretionary services, and the level at which those services are provided. They're the things that have the big effect on financial sustainability. Yeah, sure, we all want to become more efficient, and it does mostly help, but not in the meaningful, major way that our state politicians and most of our residents that don't want tax increases think it does. Most residents think that they can avoid special rate variations and tax increases or paying tax at all simply by becoming more efficient. They really should think about their own budget and think about how much that would actually affect their whole financial position if they shaved off a few percent of their own budget. You can make marginal changes that'll help over a long period of time as they stack up on top of each other and compound each other. But there's no real short-term fix through efficiency. It just doesn't stack up to the facts. The next fact is that commercial consultants face completely different incentives and barriers and hurdles than what scholars do. But a lot of local governments still aren't getting this. And certainly our state governments don't get it in a very big way. It's really interesting to me that you can be a commercial consultant, intimately engaged in the amalgamations in New South Wales, and have the record that you had there, and then walk off to a state like Tasmania and get lucrative jobs doing the same standard of work. That really surprises me. It really surprises me that people want to quote to me and make decisions based on what commercial consultants have said in some document that they've been paid for, and ignore robust empirical evidence constructed by scholars. So let's have a quick look at these. I covered them in my book, Saving Local Government, but it's worth going through it again. Your commercial consultants, you usually don't know the names and the qualifications of the actual people doing work. Occasionally you might know the name of the partner. More likely you probably only know the name of the company, and the partner you engage is not actually the person doing work. I can assure you, I've known commercial consultants. I've had a commercial consultant as a PhD student. I can assure you that the person that you engage is usually not the person actually doing the work. So, reputational effects. If they stuff up, it may affect their future revenue, but it hasn't for KPMG. Billable hours. They price a job, it's a certain number of hours, and that's all they can do. Otherwise, they're making a loss in the eyes of their company, so that's not possible. Moral hazard. They're taking money from you. That's going to affect how and what they give you. Their interest in getting more money off you in the future, or getting you to say nice things to someone else who might give them more money in the future, is going to affect their ability to be able to give you truths even when you don't necessarily want to hear them. There is no independent review. The partner might read over the work that he puts his name to, but there's no independent review process. They need to keep earning income to keep their jobs. Typically, a consultant has to earn 2.5 times their wage to keep their job, and their knowledge is sold. It's not based on robust empirical work. I'm yet to see robust empirical work from a commercial consulting company. And I'm yet to see a commercial consulting company who properly engages with the scholarly literature. It's like it doesn't exist to these guys. Now compare that to scholars like me. You know my name and my qualifications. It's written on the paper. You can Google Scholar me. You can see who's been citing me and what they've said about my work. Our careers are made or broken on our reputation. If I stuff up, I've lost my job. I'll never get published anywhere else again. It's as simple as that. We must disclose our conflicts in our paper. Our papers are blind peer reviewed. An editor reads them. If it's good enough, it then goes out to review. A lot are rejected. About half of them are rejected. If it goes out to review, it goes to 2 or 3 people. Sometimes I've had 1 by 5 who don't know me, who are experts in the field, who have published in that journal before, and they interrogate my work until they say it's good enough. It doesn't get published. It's as simple as that. That's independence review. You don't get that with commercial consultants. That's why you can base your decisions confidently on scholarly work, but you can't base them on the grey literature, not if you want good outcomes anyway. Our incentives, I need to publish a certain number of papers, minimum of 4 A-rank papers a year to keep my job. I need to teach. I need to teach well and get good teaching evaluations. That's how I keep my job. It's got nothing to do with what I earn from my university. And our knowledge is freely given out. My papers, you can download them and read them. Some of them are free. Sometimes the journal will charge them. I won't charge you. And in fact, I go on YouTube and tell you all about them for free. Completely different incentives. For my money, I would be relying on information provided by scholars because they've got more to lose and they've got very little to gain than what I would be relying on information from commercial consultants. Busting myth number 3. As population increases, people can become less satisfied with local government. This is particularly the case for metropolitan councils. This was published at LGS, the best journal in the world, based on the Penal Victorian data, where they have consistent satisfaction surveys. And what we found was that there was an inverted U-shaped relationship for population size and citizen satisfaction for metropolitan, i.e. city councils. So up to a population of 170,000 people, as population increased, people were more satisfied. But once you get over that 170 mark, as population increased, people became less satisfied. Now, if you remember, what I always say is local government's all about people. If people aren't satisfied, the whole thing's a bit of a mess, isn't it? So this is a big problem because state governments and some local governments are running around thinking that getting bigger is good. It saves money, which I've shown it doesn't, and people are happier when their local government areas are growing. Well, in city areas, they are up to a point, but once you get above that point, a lot of city councils are bigger than 170,000. People are getting less satisfied. Why? Congestion effects. Why? Costs go up. I've shown in my other work that unit costs go up as population increases. People are paying more and spending more time in traffic and having their amenity affected. Of course, they're not happy. Rural councils, the relationship wasn't there at all. Very, very interesting, isn't it? And once again, drawn from Victoria, work about de-amalgamation. De-amalgamation makes citizens more satisfied. Well, certainly in the case of Deloitte's de-amalgamation into Benalla and Mansfield. Now, if you recall, I've done a video about this. Benalla didn't really want to de-amalgamate. It was the Mansfield people that were really motivated. Now you have a look prior to de-amalgamation, the community satisfaction scores 55, 58. After de-amalgamation, we've got scores of 62, 66, 64, 71, much higher, significantly higher. So de-amalgamation can work, and people can be happier and more satisfied afterwards. And that's very different to what some people try to tell us. Once again, evidence can often refute assumptions and opinions. It's just the way things are. Look, much more of these fact myth busting videos can be made, and I will try to make them. And as I say, my future research is orientated to busting more of these myths. Look, if you like it, give me the thumbs up. Make sure you send it to 2 or 3 other people. Make sure you subscribe. That's what tells me to make more videos. If I don't get that sort of feedback, I will make videos on other topics or just not make videos. It's as simple as that. Look, I'm only trying to help local government. I want what you want, the best local government sector possible. Please help me to help others. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.